Now, the Jedi were not just in Star Wars, they were actually a real thing, and it was spelt D-J-E-D-I. And in this video, I want to talk about these Jedi warrior priests. Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I talk a lot about body dynamics and chi energy, and how these two things work together. You see, a better body dynamics, if we can use our body better, if we can have a better posture and a better flow, this helps the chi to flow better. And a better body awareness helps you experience and feel the chi. So these two things go together. It's about the mind-body connection. This is the secret to developing chi. We need to become aware of ourselves, aware of our body, and aware of the movements and the efficiency of the movements that we're doing. And a more efficient movement implies greater chi, a greater flow of chi. Now, in this video I'm talking about the Jedi and the Sith, and of course this is a metaphor for good and evil. And I've got this video of me doing sword fighting in the background, but you don't have to watch. This is more about listening, so you can just put this video on in the background and listen while you're getting on with your work or getting on with your day. But of course you can watch if you like. I'll also leave the links below to the actual videos. I do these videos earlier in which I talk about the sword, so I'll leave the links below if you want to hear me talking about this sword. But for now, these are just in the background as I talk about the Jedi. And the Jedi were actually a real thing. We think that Star Wars is made up. It's actually based on ancient historical text. And the Jedi go back to ancient Egypt. So these guys were founded by Osiris, who was a very powerful, interesting character. And he founded the Jedi Order, and these were warriors commanded to look after the pyramids and also to protect the earth. So these were sort of warrior priests, and they were initiated into the ways of energy. And of course they had another name for chi, and I can't remember what the Egyptian name for it was, but there is a name for the energy that they had as well. So of course we're not actually Jedis in the sense of Star Wars, but we are Jedi in the sense of chi. And there is a direct connection to chi and the Force in Star Wars. And then the main difference is in Star Wars, of course, they've got telekinetic powers. And we don't seem to have telekinetic powers, but actually we do, and I'm going to do a whole nother video on that in time. It's not what you think, but I'll save that for another video. In this video, I'm really talking about good and evil. You see, if there's the Jedi, there's also the Sith. And if the Jedi are for real, these were a real historical thing written about in ancient text, then the Sith must also be for real. So who are the Sith? And if they're both using the same force, how do we know if we're using the light side of the force or the dark side of the force? And what's the difference? What is the difference between the light and the dark side of the force? So let's get into it. So the first things first, it is one and the same force. We're all connecting to one and the same force, and this force is consciousness. So of course it's what we do with this force that makes the difference. It is our attitude to the force and our motivation behind the force. This is what governs it. And it's exactly what happens with chi. Our chi is controlled by the mind, and it's controlled by our motivation, our intention in the mind. So if we have good intentions, this chi can be used for healing. And if we have bad intentions, we can also project out negative or harmful energy that won't help another person, in fact may harm them. And this is chi in martial arts, because in martial arts you're fighting, and a chi master will be using chi as a weapon against an opponent. But they are justified because they're using their weapon against a so-called evil opponent. So they become a Jedi, and the opponent is the Sith. So their opponent is someone who is trying to use the Force for harm. And the Jedi is someone who's trying to use the Force for good, for healing. And even in a fight, they see it as healing their opponent. It's like you're knocking the dark force out of them. And that's a process of healing. So when they're fighting an opponent, a Sith, it's not so much they're fighting the person, they're fighting the dark side of the Force and trying to knock the dark side of the Force out of their opponent and turn them back into a normal person. So it's more like they're under the influence of the dark force and they're trying to get that, they're fighting that, not so much the person. Whereas of course the Sith, they're fighting the person, they literally want to destroy that person. So there's a difference in attitude. And of course, so what is good and evil? I mean, what really is good and evil? You see, let me put it another way. There is not really any such thing as evil. So in a way, that's good news. There isn't really any such thing as evil, but there is. We've got evil people. Well, no. Let's look at it as light and dark. There is only light. There is no dark. You see, darkness is only the absence of light. Darkness is not a thing in itself. So there is only chi. There is only force. There is only the light side of the force. But the absence of that force is darkness. So you can look at evil as the absence of good. It's not a thing in itself. It's the severe absence of good. So the more evil a person is, the less connection to the force they have. So it's a sort of interesting thing. But then how do the Sith use the force? They're using the force, but they're not connecting to it in the same way. So what's happening here? Well, you can think of it more like connecting to the wisdom of the force. You see, they're not connecting to the wisdom of the force. They've got the energy, they're using the energy, but they don't have a connection to the ultimate wisdom. And this is the secret. You see, remember, the force is a force of consciousness. It's a conscious force, and there's wisdom in there. And of course, they're not using that wisdom. They're just using the raw power of the force. The Jedi are also using the wisdom. They're connecting to the wisdom. And the wisdom ultimately always trumps the power. And I'll come to that in a minute now. But you see, they're using the force with a different attitude. They're using a force for selfish gain. They're thinking about themselves, only themselves. The Jedi are using the force with an altruism. They're thinking about everyone. They're thinking about the connection with all things. So they're using the force with a feeling of sharing. It's not selfishness, it's selflessness. They become one with all things. The Sith are becoming isolated. They're becoming separate. They are an isolated being all by themselves. So it's not so much that they're using a different force, the light side and the dark side of the force. There is only one side of the force. It is the light side, and there's the absence of that. But the light, remember, the light is not so much about energy, it's about wisdom. So the light side of the force is the side of the force using wisdom. The dark side of the force is the side of the force, the energy being used without wisdom. So ultimately, the Sith are stupid. It's based on ignorance. They don't really understand how the force works. So they can only get so far. And that's why the Jedi will always win. The Jedi will always win. But let's take another analogy. You see this in a lot of fantasy films. The Sith are searching for their own power. They want to gain more power. And they'll get that in any way, shape or form. And they will steal other people's power to get it. You see, it's more like you're stealing souls. You'll see this in fantasies. So the bad guy steals other people's souls. And the more souls they can steal, the more power they have, or the more magic they have. And so you get this dark, evil person, a Sith. They would have stolen maybe 1,000 souls, let's say, or 10,000 souls. And that makes them very, very powerful. But you see, when you meet a Jedi, the Jedi has not stolen any souls. He hasn't stolen any soul. So how can one soul, the Jedi, compete against the Sith who has stolen 1,000 souls? They've got the power of 1,000 souls behind them. But the Jedi has stolen none. It's just the Jedi all alone. But the Jedi has got infinite friends. He's got friends and family, and they just call out to everyone in the Force. Hey guys, come and help me. I've got a hell of a fight going on. And all the souls in the Force, every living being, everything comes together behind the Jedi. And the Sith can never compete with that. So the Sith has got 1,000 souls. The Jedi has got all the souls come to his aid. And why is that? Well, it's because the Jedi has made friends with the Force. The Jedi is living in harmony with the Force. The Sith has tried to command the Force, steal the Force, take the Force for themselves. The very purpose, see, if we look at the very purpose of the Sith is to increase power. They are searching for power. They believe power is the most important thing to have in life. And we know people like that. This world is also built on people like that. I'll come to that in a minute. They believe power is all important. We see this in martial arts. They just want to get more and more powerful. You end up being a bully or a fighter, or a criminal, using that power for whatever. You just want more and more power. You think that's most important. But this is ultimately ignorant, because you can only go so far with power. So what are the Jedi? The Jedi's very purpose, they don't seek power. The Jedi are seeking harmony. They are seeking balance, not power. And this is the highest level martial arts. You're seeking harmony, you're seeking balance, not power. And balance and harmony ultimately will bring you the maximum power. This is the irony. Because when you achieve balance and harmony, you're tuning into the balance and harmony of the entire universe. And the entire universe comes behind you. You're tuning into the entire force. When you're seeking power, you're restricted by the capabilities of your body and mind. You can only go that far. And you can steal other people's power and increase yours to some degree, but you're still limited by your identity. You still believe I am this person and I have got this power. And because you believe this is me, you have limited it. You can only get that far. So ultimately this is ignorance. The Sith will never understand the Force. They cannot, by definition. If you understood the Force, you would not be seeking power. You would be seeking harmony. Because in harmony there is far greater power. They're idiots. So the Jedi will always win. The Jedi will always win and the Sith will always lose. Yeah, but now if you look at Star Wars, you see, well, there's poor old Yoda living on a planet all alone, and the whole universe is taken over by the Empire. So the Sith are ruling the universe, and the Jedi are in exile. So, well, you know, how does their harmony win? You know, it looks like the Sith. It looks like the Sith have won. It's the same in the world now. We always say crime doesn't pay. But hang on a second, the richest people in the world, the richest families, the largest corporations, the biggest things going on, they're all criminals. So it does appear that crime does pay. These guys rule the world. So what do you mean crime doesn't pay? Well, it doesn't pay because you can never achieve harmony if you're doing crimes. You're on the search for power. You're limited by your identity. You can't let go of your identity and your personal experience. So you're ultimately being ignorant. You see, being good, it means you are seeking wisdom. You know, I'll come to that later on, but why bother being good? You know, as we look at the world today, that's the question. Why bother being good? It seems criminals are the richest people, and they seem to be happy because they could buy whatever the hell they want. But they're not really happy. They can't be really happy because they're limited by their search for power. And they're ultimately they have a mindset that is materialistic and it is isolated. They believe I am an individual being and this body is me and this life is me. That's it. And I want to get everything I can in this body and in this life. But they're missing the point. They don't understand the Force, and they never will understand the Force. You see, the Sith are ultimately narcissists. They're a narcissist. What is a narcissist? A narcissist is someone who can't see past their own life identity. They're living in their own world, and everyone else must comply to their own little fantasy about their own little world. And we all know people like that. We all know people like that. And mostly it's relatively harmless, low level. But you do get more serious narcissists. And once they've got in their mind that strong idea, that narcissistic idea of their own individual life, they can't empathize. They can't see anyone else's point of view or put themselves in anyone else's boots. And so because of that, they see everyone else as fair game for achieving power. So they'll take everyone else's power, and any power they want, they'll take it. And you get more and more extreme narcissists, and of course, because they like power, well, they're attracted to positions of power. So you can see that studies have been done. I think it's like 60 or 80% of people in power are narcissists. But again, it stands to reason. They are searching for that, and they'll do anything at all to get it. Good people are not searching for power, so they're not going to try and ruthlessly push themselves to the top. A narcissist will ruthlessly push themselves to the top, and they'll trample over anyone and anyone who gets in their way. And if you're not going to help them, then they will cut you down. If they see you as a threat, they will cut you down without any conscience. Remember, they've got no empathy. They don't feel bad. They have no conscience. We've all got a bit of a conscience. We feel bad if we hurt someone else. And that's a good thing. We should have a sense of shame, and we should have a conscience. If we realize we've done wrong, we should be ashamed and express that. Very important. Let go of your ego. Admit you've done something wrong and be sorry, because then you'll learn. You've got to be sorry. It's important. But of course, a narcissist is never sorry. They're never sorry. But let's take it one step further. You get even more extreme narcissists. You get pathological narcissists. And that's a point where some deficiency is in the brain. They're actually incapable now. Their brain structure is not allowing them to receive enough wisdom, so they cannot get past their own identity. And there's nothing you can do to help them. And if you get a pathological, sociopathic narcissist, now we get dangerous people. Very, very dangerous. These are the people we make films about, love talking about, these serial exterminators. I don't want to say the word for the algorithm, but you know what I mean. These people going around exterminating people just because they like it. You know, these mad people. But even that's chump change. That's still nothing. We've got even worse narcissist. Imagine a pathological sociopathic narcissist who's got virtually infinite wealth. They're so rich. They've got so much money, and they're a pathological sociopathic narcissist. Well, now you've got a Bond villain. These are like the Bond villains. But the world has got people like these Bond villains. They have got so much wealth, and they are pathological sociopathic narcissists. We've got to watch out for these guys. These are the Sith Lords. And to take it one step further, imagine you've got one of these guys, but it goes back 10, 12, 15 generations. Each generation of that family is so wealthy. They've never lived without near infinite wealth, you know, surrounded by servants. And then they teach their children this same narcissism, but their children have got nothing to change their mind. They're surrounded by wealth, and then they teach their children, and they teach their children. 10, 15 generations of pathological sociopathic narcissist. Now what do you get? We can't comprehend the mindset of such a person. But if you go into this, you'll see that there are people like this. And these rich, super rich mega corporations are connected to people like this. It goes back, you think of ancient Egypt, even the history, you know, the pharaohs passing on the bloodline only to their own family members, you know, this sort of thing, and extreme wealth. So this is not a good thing. This is the way of the Sith. So the Jedi don't do that. The Jedi are peaceful. Remember, they are warrior priest. What does it mean to be a priest? It means they are searching for a higher wisdom. The Jedi are searching for wisdom, not power. They're searching for harmony and balance, because that is wisdom. And that is the most powerful way to be. If you really want power, you've got to seek harmony. And to seek that power, you've got to let go of it being yours. You have to accept this is not my power. This is a universal power coming through me. It is not me. So you're letting go of your individuality. And of course that means you're becoming one with the Force. And what is the Jedi Mantra? The Jedi Mantra is, the Force is with me, I am one with the Force. And this is right, this is the mindset we want. The first thing we do is we say, the Force is with me. Well, that means, okay, I've sort of forgotten about the Force, and I'm reminding myself. You know, what happens is I just think I'm me, I'm getting on with my life, and I've sort of individuated myself. And then I remind myself, hang on, I'm not alone. I'm connected to the Force is around me, yeah, this energy, this chi is with me. The Force is with me. But then I go a bit deeper. When I feel the Force, and I start to think about it, I'm starting to gain the wisdom. And the wisdom tells me, hang on a second, it's not just that the Force is with me, it's the Force, I am one with the Force. I am the Force is coming in with me. And that's the third one. No, this is the one, I've added this one on. I am the Force. Because that's the next stage. When you realise, first of all, the Force is with me, then you realise I am one with the Force. We are one and the same thing. Well, then it means I am the Force. So now I have all the power. The entire universe, the entire Force is with me. But I am it. So I have claimed the power of the entire universe, whereas the Sith can only claim the power of their self, themselves, their individual self, and the selves or the souls that they have stolen, the energy that they have stolen from other people. Remember, the Sith are ultimately stupid. If you're a narcissist, I'm sorry, you're ultimately being stupid. You're ignorant. You're acting from complete and utter ignorance. And that's what a narcissist is. Ignorance and arrogance combined. It is the worst sort of human being. So if you're being a narcissist, stop it. Stop it now. And remember, we've got to be aware of this. Narcissists are very dangerous people, particularly these big, important, pathological narcissists. They will lie, and they will lie for a living. You can look into it. There was a lady, she did this biggest con, and I can't remember the name of it, movies being made about it. She made billions selling this fraudulent technology about blood testing. So, Theramide or something. If I remember what it is, I'll put the link below. But the point being was, she was proven to be a narcissist, a complete narcissist. So she could beat a lie detector machine. Because they do not believe they are lying. We can't beat a lie detector machine because we think, oh, I'm lying now. And then we get nervous. They do not see it as a lie. They are professional liars. And this is, again, we need to teach this to our children. All that glitters is not gold. Every smile is not necessarily sweet. These guys can have the sweetest smile because they genuinely believe they are doing good. But they are doing terrible, terrible evil. They are ultimately acting from ignorance. So remember, a narcissist is a professional liar because they do not believe they are lying. And this is how they are still acting in the Force. You see, the Force comes from belief. And they believe in their own power, and they believe very strongly in their own power, so they can command a lot of force. So do not underestimate the power of the dark side. It's extremely attractive. When you feel the power in your body, and you guys, if you train Chi, some of you guys might already have felt this, but when you start feeling the Chi in your body, and I remember when I started feeling Chi in the body, it's extremely powerful. It's extremely seductive, and it's hard to describe. The body starts to move by itself. It's like there's another force in there. My muscles contract, and my body would move into a powerful structure all by itself, and it's disconcerting. What the hell's happening to me? You feel a bit like you're possessed. So it takes a while to get to this level of Chi, but it's spontaneous movement just happening to you by itself. Now I do this all the time. I don't even think about this. But in the first time, it's very disconcerting, very powerful. You feel a great deal of force and very little effort. And the Sith get addicted to this. And again, it's even in all the Kung Fu movies, they teach a great student, and the great student gets addicted to the power and goes off and becomes a criminal, and then the teacher has to go and either fight him, confront him, or teach a new student and teach the new student the ways of good, and then the new student has to defeat that bad old student. It's a classic story, and it's really, again, it's just a story between searching for power and realizing that power is not the ultimate power. The ultimate power is harmony and balance. We have to seek harmony and balance, and that means letting go of power. And also, I've been through that. I've been very sick, very weak, and that's very humbling indeed. And my first fear after my operations was I've lost my Kung Fu, I've lost my power. But I regained my power, and I'm more powerful than I was before. Remember, Obi-Wan said to Darth Vader, "Strike me down now, and I will return more powerful than you can possibly imagine." Well, that's literally happened to me. I've had 4 major surgeries, and sometimes I fantasize that it's like a samurai battle. I've received 2 stab wounds and a cut across my belly, and I've survived it, and I've come back a better samurai than I did before. But that's my own little personal fantasy, and it helps me activate my Chi. It helps me build confidence and gain strength out of the suffering that I've had. You see, the Jedi is not attached to their self-identity. Is not putting a value judgment on their life experience. And then the Yoda is left on the planet all by himself in exile while the Empire rules the world. It appears that the Empire has won. but the Jedi always win and the Sith always lose. You see, even in that position there, Yoda is on his planet alone, but he has won. He knows that force will return, balance will return, so he's not worried. He's still happy as Larry sitting on his planet in exile. He's tuned in with the force. And when Luke Skywalker comes down to train with Yoda, Yoda's like, hey man, let's train. He's sort of light-hearted, and he's joking and playing with Luke. He's still serious, but he is not affected by the misery of the Empire. The Empire creates misery everywhere, and ultimately the Sith Lords, the Empire, the Emperor is miserable. They always lose. They're in power, but they're miserable, because they're always trapped in this identity, and they always want more, and it's never enough. They're always dissatisfied. You see, if you're searching for power, you always want more. By definition, you are not content. You are not happy. By definition, the Sith are stupid. So don't worry about these guys. It's easy to defeat the Sith. And this is why we got to become the Jedi. We got to become the Jedi in this world. And we the Jedi are the light warriors, the warrior priests, trying to achieve balance in our chi. And if we can do that, we may be in exile on a planet, doing our own training, and the Empire seems to be ruling the planet, but we are the Rebel Alliance. We're quietly building our chi, and we are winning because we've got harmony. We're feeling a balance, a contentment, a satisfaction. If we can feel this satisfaction, this gratitude, this appreciation for the chi, this is the feeling. This is a feeling of winning. When you win, this is what you feel. So hang on a second, I'm always winning. If I'm a Jedi, I'm always got this feeling of satisfaction, this feeling of balance. I have always won the fight, no matter what happens. And if you're the Sith, you're searching for power, you'll feel it, you'll notice I'm always dissatisfied. I'm never happy. I'm always ungrateful. I always want more. I'm always trampling on someone else to get what I want. I'm always destroying someone else's freedom so that I can have more power. I'm always taking away another person's power, making them work for me. You work for me. You build my power. Now you're the Sith. Now you're being a narcissist. Stop it! Do not be a narcissist, and watch out in your life. Be wary of these guys. If you feel them, you've got to protect your own energy. And this again, we are really being Jedi. We are really working with the energy, and it's not just physical self-defense. I'm talking about martial arts, showing body movements. We are protecting our body, but we've also got to protect our energy field. Our energy can also be attacked. And this is what happens emotionally. When someone makes you feel down, makes you feel small, makes you feel little, makes you feel insecure, by saying things to you, you'll feel it. You'll feel weaker. They are taking your energy. And you've got to protect your energy. Notice, when someone makes you feel down, makes you feel negative, watch out. Rebuild your energy. Hang on a second, I'm not feeling down about myself. I'm feeling up. I'm feeling happy. I'm not accepting this. No, you can't take my energy. You've got to build a strong aura. And if you build a strong aura, a strong connection to your own body center, the belly and your own heart, your chest, your whole torso really, anything inside your body, feel inside your body and take command of that. You command your own mind. You see, the Sith want to control your mind. They want to take away your control. If they control your mind, they make you feel small, they make you feel weak, and you do what they say. You become their servant. And we need to gain our mind back. Nobody tells me what to do. I am in command. I am in command of myself. This is building a strong aura. And a strong body also brings a strong magnetic field, which is a real thing, and the magnetic field emanates from your heart. Again, this is a real thing, you can measure it. Magnetic field stretches up to about 6 meters away from your body. But if you can make this a strong magnetic field is literally an aura, a force field. Radiation cannot penetrate a magnetic field. A strong magnetic field protects from everything. So it's a strong immune system. This protects from dis-ease, illness, as well as negative energy attacks, or people trying to steal your soul, take your energy, make you feel small, make you feel weak, and they want to take control of your chi. They want your energy. They want your energy, and that's how it works. Okay, so remember, we are the Jedi. And I invite you all now to join me in the Jedi Order, and together we'll build our chi, build our harmony, and we become the Rebel Alliance. And from our core, our structure, we're going to project outwards, and ultimately the empire of the Sith will crumble, and we're moving towards a more harmonious, more balanced world, where there is a way of living in harmony. There really is, and it's only 2 or 3 steps away. The trouble is, the Sith want you to believe it's impossible to get this world of harmony. It's not impossible. I'm actually sitting on a few very interesting technological solutions. The solutions are in technology, and I'll talk about them in future videos. But it's only 2 or 3 steps to a better world. So be patient, build your chi, harmonize the energy inside your body, and feel the energy of the universe around you in harmony. The universe is ultimately balance and harmony. It's not struggle and battle and fighting. It's balance and harmony. And that's what we've got to find. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Please do check out one of these other videos here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.